So, what do you guys want to talk about?
That fantastic performance. Just walk us through the fight. I know you said you were going to finish him, no doubts in your mind. Did you expect it to happen earlier, later? How'd it go relative to your game plan?
I was oddly excited when I heard, I think it was his corner that said 15 seconds left. When I got the takedown, I was planning on doing more on top, but I heard there's 15 seconds left. It's like, okay, I'll land a shot or two on top and just kind of solidify position. But I was like, oh, damn, like, we're going to a second round. Nice. Like, I'm probably not going to pass and get a submission in the last 10 seconds. So I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of felt like just trying to treat it like individual fights, you know, just like, okay, I won the first fight. Now the second round's a completely different thing. You can't, you know, wait on any of the success from last time. Just treat it like a new fight. Win this fight, and then if it goes to the third, win the third fight, unless we're able to stop him. And yeah, I got that stoppage, man. I was so happy to get that stoppage. Dude, he's good, man. He's really good. He wasn't getting any love or any attention this week, or like nobody was giving that guy a shot. I watched him. I'm like, okay, he got thrown to a tough opponent on 9 days' notice for his debut, and he was winning that fight until he got, you know, caught, kind of gassed and got caught. Like, the guy took the fight on 9 days' notice, and then he beat like another killer in his next fight. I'm like, they're not like, this guy isn't the Can that everyone thinks he is. You know, a bunch of people were saying like, oh, I have no idea who this guy is. They're just, you know, what you know, kind of almost treating it like I'm supposed to walk through this guy, which is a little bit of pressure. I'm like, dude, this is not a guy you just walk through. This guy's good. So, good striker, good wrestler, good grappler. Just had to tell myself, you know, I've put in all the preparation. I'm elite everywhere as well, and I think I can beat this guy anywhere. And I felt like I showed I beat him everywhere. You know, he's a wrestler. DC in the broadcast interview, he's like all over this guy. Oh, he's a wrestler, man. You see him on top. What are you going to do when he gets on top of you? I'm like, what do you mean when he gets on top of me? Like, he's going to have to take me down first. Like, it's not a guaranteed thing this guy's going to out-wrestle me. I can wrestle too, dude. So that was so funny. I mean, it's like, you know, wrestlers stick with wrestlers a bunch. So there's some, you know, common love there from them, I'm sure. But yeah, that was fun. I thought that was funny.
I have to ask about the walkout, the barrier collapsing, nearly falling on you. How much were you like noticing what exactly happened in that moment? Because you're obviously very focused on the walkout and the fight. Did you realize like how crazy that whole moment was?
I noticed it for like a quarter of a second. It fell. I kind of like jumped to the side, stepped over the gate. I was like, 1, that sucks for them. 2, don't think about it. Stay focused. And like, immediately forgot about it afterwards. I didn't remember it happened until one of our cornermen brought up the video, because one of my cornermen, the gate fell on him, like hit him in the hip. Yeah, he's all right. But I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize, like, I don't know, it kind of, had bigger fish to fry. I had the biggest fight of my life in front of me. I was focused on that. But like, fuck, man, that would have been a shitty way for that fight to not have happened. Fall on your knee and just like on your way to the hospital or something like that. That would have sucked.
Just last from me, as you're watching that card unfold and you're seeing Canadian win, is the pressure building up knowing that you're going to be last and you're like, man, I can't be the only one to let the fans down here. I got to complete the sweep.
So I had visualized every scenario heading up to this fight. Ones where all the Canadians won, how does that pressure feel, or how do I feel about that? Ones where all the Canadians lose, how do I feel about that? Ones where some of my teammates win and some don't, or it's a mix. Like, how do I feel going into that? And I think I did a pretty good job of letting go of, you know, being obviously super proud of how the Canadians held themselves today. Like, we really held the fort down, man. That was incredible. But I was like, look, I can look at this as my mental coach Danny Patterson would say, pressure's a perspective. So I could have viewed that as like, well, I have to be the one to win. I can't be the one to ruin the night, which clearly there's a little bit of that. But, you know, had it been the other way where everyone lost, it's like, dude, I definitely can't lose and let Canada lose all of its fights. Like, I gotta, you know, somebody's got to win. And you know, you could have viewed that as pressure. But I was like, you know what? Everyone's done super well. The fans are warmed up. No pressure, man. This isn't pressure. This is privilege. I get to fight in front of Canadians in Canada on the world stage. There's nothing to feel pressure about. I'm so privileged. Just kind of like take a moment. They're like, we're back for you in 5 minutes, and just kind of like, as corny as it is, like look myself in the mirror and before I walk out and just be like, hey man, forget results. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of myself. Like looking in the mirror, just like, you know, you're here. You wanted to do this since you were a little kid, since you were like 13 years old. You've wanted to do this, and you made it happen. So just go have fun, enjoy yourself, take all this in, be present. Don't zone out. Don't let the pressure get to you. But enjoy this, man. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. This is truly an amazing night.
Mike in front right here. Andre Fili tweeted, "You're the next GSP," and he refers to you as the Canadian Conor. So I guess what do the UFC have in you moving forward? Like, what do you think they can? You're the one that'll spearhead this next wave of Canadian superstars.
Number one, shout out to Andre Fili. I love you, brother. Number two, I'm not the next GSP. No, there will never be another GSP. GSP's the greatest of all time. He's truly a legend. I could never replace that man. Clearly, like, I'm nowhere near his accolades. Like, the guy's got, triple the title defenses that I have wins in the UFC. So let's, definitely no way I'm comparing myself to him. And I don't want to be the next George St-Pierre. I want to be the first Mike Malott. I love how I fight. I love my style. It's completely different from his, but I take so much inspiration from him. I had a GSP poster in my room as a kid and idolized that man. And, one of my cornermen told me he was watching and he was there and he, stood up and was, celebrating when I won. I'm like, dude, that's so sick. Like, that's George St-Pierre, dude. I don't know what the rest of the question was, but I hope I answered it.
He refers to you as the Canadian Conor moving forward.
The Canadian Conor. No, man. I'm not. I don't feel like I'm a lot like him either. Again, I'm the first Mike. I've been saying I'm getting that 10th stoppage. People call him Mystic Mac, and I told my coaches, I'm like, I'm getting that stoppage, and these are the ways it's going to likely happen, And one of my coaches, Chris Prickett, said something. He's like, "Oh, Mystic Mike, you predicted it." I'm like, "No, man." The thing I've been telling myself all camp is like, "No, I don't predict things. I create them. I make things happen. Like, I'm not predicting this stoppage. I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna create this. Like, you don't predict what you can create."
Mike over here, right here.
Oh, what's up, James?
How's it going? Kind of looking back at how everything sort of unfolded this week, like we talked about this, you really thrive in this, doing all the media, being sort of at the forefront of this card and everything. Did it live up to everything you imagined, like looking back now?
Dude, it was 99% perfect. Had I won that NHL 94 game against...
I was going to say, did that rattle you at all? Was that on your mind tonight?
Had I won that game, it would have been a perfect week, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. And, again, I know the focus was totally on your opponent tonight and everything like that. Do you have an idea of when you want to have that next fight, or is it just, take some time, enjoy the moment, and then sort of reassess?
My focus wasn't even remotely on my opponent. My focus was on myself and the process and this moment. And tonight, I give respect to everyone I fight, and I analyze them as much as I feel necessary. But there's a reason I didn't really use his name, because it's not really about him. I didn't talk. I've never talked trash about anybody. I've just said how I feel, and I've been honest, and I prefer to talk about myself rather than other people, not to be conceited. But it's just I'm not talking about him. He's a great fighter, but this was Canadian MMA's show, so I want to talk about how this was our show, man. This was our coming home party again. This was us coming home. This was us getting to finally feel that again. And everybody showed up. Everybody showed up in the audience. The fans showed up. The fans were amazing. The fighters were amazing. Everybody won. I really hope. Here's what I ask for. I hope all the Canadians who fought tonight get a performance bonus, because that was pretty special, man. Every Canadian won on the card. Has that ever happened?
It has, yeah.
It has?
Yeah.
Well, that seems less special now.
No. You guys got to get a photo together, though. I think someone suggested that on Twitter. You got to round everyone up here tonight.
Yeah.
We can get that together. Speaking of Canadians, and his name was mentioned earlier, did you know George St-Pierre was cage side for the fight tonight? Did you know that?
I didn't know before, but Chris Prickett, my wrestling coach, told me. He's like, dude, I didn't want to, nudge you and tell you before the fight, but I saw him as we were walking out, and I was just laser focused down the barrel. Getting to the cage. But Yeah, man, that's pretty cool.
And just last one for me. Do you have an opponent in mind next? I mean, I think now the rankings are kind of what I think you're sort of looking at right now.
What's next for me, man, is I'm moving. My fiance and I just bought a house in Font Hill. We're moving. I need a little bit of a break, dude. I had the Fury grappling match against Trevin Giles, who's another UFC welterweight. I beat him December 30th, trained for that, beat him. January 1st, started camp, so the day after he flew back, started camp for Johan Lainus, won that fight, called for the UFC to come back to Canada, and I'm like, oh, hopefully at some point this year, Canada, they'll come back to Canada. I ended my interview with someone, and they turned to me and said, they're coming to Vancouver June 10th, just so you know. And I'm like, shit, okay, well, I guess I'm going back to the gym next week to get right back into training for June 10th. So basically, since November, it's been date, pedal to the metal the whole time. I need a little bit of a break. I love you, Dave Hirschbein, my manager, but I'm probably going to block your phone number. I don't want to hear from you. Don't talk to me for like a month, maybe a little bit longer. I'm cornering Andre Feely in London, July 22nd, so looking forward to that. And then probably after that, we can start looking for something again. Anybody else? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.